Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about installing electric radiant heat under hardwood floors. Installation of electric floor heating under a hardwood floor system is a great way to add warmth and comfort to any room. It's also a fairly simple process because there are no vents, ducts, pipes, or radiators that you have to deal with. And it often solves issues that come up in the remodeling process. I like using electric radiant heat because, simply put, it heats really well. A radiant heat system heats the entire room from the floor up, and it results in heat that is consistent throughout the room. The heat produced by the system also reduces humidity and drafts, which result in less dust mites and allergens in the air. There are some misconceptions about moisture in hardwood floor and radiant heat. Radiant heat, whether water-based or electric, does not affect wood floors. Only moisture can negatively impact wood flooring and cause it to contract and crack and stuff like that. Temperatures only have an impact at very high temperatures or high levels. And moisture, on the other hand, just a small amount of moisture can wreak havoc on floors. So controlling moisture is important, and on areas that are above a non-insulated crawl space under plywood or maybe over a concrete slab, you want to take precautions and steps to control moisture and humidity, as well as install an insulation layer or insulation board prior to installing your floor heating system. Talk a little bit about matching floor heights, because when I do remodels, oftentimes we're adding flooring. In order to get our new floor in our recent project at the same height, we had to build up the new floor 3/4 of an inch to match. So we ended up screwing down a 1/2 inch CDX plywood, and then we installed 1/4 inch strips, 3-inch wide strips of plywood called sleepers or nailer strips along the perimeter of the room and 16 inches on center. The radiant heating is only 1/8 of an inch, so we figured the 1/4 inch strips were fine. And those strips, called sleeper strips, basically create channels to run your heat in, and then your hardwood floor is installed perpendicular to that. Once the heating cables are installed between your sleepers, you encapsulate them. And I used a latex modified Thinset, which is a blend of cement and finely grated sand and mixed with water. And latex modified Thinset is cheaper than a self-leveling pour, which is really not needed in this situation. But you do want to make sure that you mix that Thinset superior than you would when you were mixing for tile setting. And you want, because you want that Thinset to flow and level out evenly between those sleepers. The goal is to completely encapsulate the heating wires. You do not want any air gaps between the Thinset or the flooring material. Air gaps create a thermal gap and decrease the efficiency of the heating system. So a quick tip for you here is when you're leveling things out, I use a scrap piece of wood that spans at least 2 sleepers, and I use it to level out the Thinset or screed the Thinset. I want to talk to you a little bit about choosing the wood flooring. We went with a rift quarter-sawn oak, and extensive laboratory testing from it's Launstein hardwood floors in Mason, Michigan, found that American hardwoods, including cherry, oak, ash, maple, hickory, and walnut, were all good choices to use with radiant floor heating. Beech, Australian cypress, and many of those bamboo products, for example, were not very good to use. So we chose the rift and corded oak. And rift and corded oak is touted to be approximately 30% more stable than plain sawn oak flooring. Rift and corded boards rival engineered flooring, and these boards will only expand and shrink in their thickness, their height, and they'll remain stable from side to side on their width. They are perhaps the best option for hardwood radiant heat flooring systems, and also an excellent choice to minimize seasonal gaps, buckling, and other issues that happen. Talk a little bit about the wood floor installation. First, you want to deliver your flooring about a week and a half to 2 weeks early and let it acclimate to the conditions of the house that it's being installed in. That's standard operating procedures. Well, first of all, your final installation is only as good as your subfloor that you're installing on. So carefully inspect the subfloor and fix any problems that it's going to affect your installation. I like to add screws to an existing subfloor and screw it back down into the joist, regardless of how well it's installed, just to eliminate any loose floorboard squeaks and potential problems. Installing the boards, when you're installing hardwood flooring now, you install it basically the same way, with or without radiant heat, using all the same precautions. The only thing is that you need to slow down and be precise in nailing and placing your fasteners, because you are nailing into those sleeper strips. When installing the Warmup loose wire heating system, there are 10 steps that you should pay attention to. First is determine your heating area. Measure your room that you're going to install this in. Make a sketch and then send it out to Warmup for your quote. Locate your thermostat location. Where are you going to bring that wire to? Dedicated 20 circuit. Where are you going to bring it? 2, locate your thermostat, and it should be approximately 5 feet off the floor and on an inside wall always. Always on an inside wall. Try to avoid placing it near heat sources like other radiators or things that might generate heat. People don't think about it, but sunlight from windows or skylights could impact it. The Warmup proprietary 3IE energy monitoring and 4IE smart Wi-Fi thermostats include a safety upper limit thermostat or temperature monitoring system or setting. This means that when selecting, quote, wood floors in their programming, you can set the heat so it will never go over 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and that'll ensure gradual and consistent heating, but you'll never get too high to damage the floors. Step number 3 is you want to run a GFCI circuit, 20 amp dedicated circuit to your thermostat location. And prior to closing any walls, I always install a wire pull string from the thermostat box all the way down to the shoe plate. I usually cut a little notch out of the shoe plate, the 2x4 plate at the bottom of the wall, so that I can easily fish up or pull up my wires. You want to install your sleepers using wood strips or sleepers from 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch thick, 2 to 3 inch wide, 12 to 16 inches on center. And I glued and nailed them down. You can glue and screw them down as well, depends on how thick they are. You want to then install your red fixing strips. Warmup provides fixing strips to help you space the wires 2 or 3 inches apart, and you can use hot glue, nails, or screws to secure these strips. You want to probably keep a minimum from 3 inches from the wall, and do not want to run any wire under any permanent fixtures. The next step would be installing your wire. And you start close to the thermostat and you work your way out. And you install your heating cable through the fixing strips, and you run them in kind of a serpentine pattern back and forth between the wood sleepers and around the sleeper to the next group, and so on and so forth. Step 7 is you install the temperature floor sensor. You're going to place the sensor probe evenly between 2 runs of heating cables, at least 12 inches out from the wall, and you don't want to cross any wires. One tip is that the sensor head is a little bit big. It's at least 3/8 of an inch. So if you're using 3/8 or less sleepers, you want to recess it in the floor. I just use a utility knife and a chisel to do that, so it doesn't touch the wood planks. It's recessed down. Step 8 is embed your heating system using a leveling compound. Again, I use the Thinset. And when the heating system is completely installed, that Thinset basically covers the entire system. And I use, like I said, I use a scrap board to spread the Thinset, leveling it out between the sleepers. Leveling compounds like Thinset, adhesive type stuff, must contain latex compounds and be capable of withstanding temperatures up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, especially when used with heating systems. Step 9 is install your wood flooring, your hardwood wood flooring. And when the leveling compound has cured and it looks like it's been dried, you want to check it with a moisture meter. And you only want to install your hardwood flooring by attaching it to the wood sleepers only. You need to use caution not to damage the wires with your fasteners. Common sense here. Just slow down and place your fasteners accordingly. Step 10 is program your thermostat. And you want to program it so that it doesn't reach a maximum of 81 degrees Fahrenheit to avoid drying the wood out or causing warping. The new Warmup 4IE Smart Wi-Fi thermostat does this automatically for you when you select the wood floor in the menu. I think it's brilliant. It does it automatically for you. As technology continues to advance, so does the concepts and the innovation in wood floor heating and heating in general. Using electric radiant heat to supplement existing heating systems is basically a no-brainer. It creates a consistent, warm, and toasty supplemental heat source in any room. I'm Rob Robillard. Please subscribe to my video channel, and you can read my in-depth article on ConcordCarpenter.com. Take care.